99% of men miss this one thing. It's not money, it's not flashy clothes, it's not being the most charming or clever guy in the room. And it's definitely not about playing hard to get or memorizing pickup lines. The trait women find most magnetic runs much deeper. It's presence, it's calm, it's emotional discipline, it's a quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout. It's a rare kind of power, not a performance, not an act, but something you carry naturally, because it's who you are, and very few men ever develop it. Most men live in a constant state of reaction, chasing attention, seeking approval, needing validation. They text back instantly. They second-guess themselves. They hustle to win people over instead of learning to stand still in their own skin. But the man who masters this principle, he's different. He doesn't chase. He doesn't need to prove anything. He's selective with his energy, his time, and his words. And that alone commands attention, especially from women. This presence comes from mastering yourself, from choosing to lead your life with purpose instead of emotion, from living what the ancient Stoics taught: control what you can, let go of what you can't, stay grounded through it all. If you're ready to stop blending into the noise and start standing out with calm, unshakable confidence, you're exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Stoic HQ. Here, we help you become the kind of man the world rarely sees, but deeply respects. In this video, we're going to break down the crucial mindset shift that 99% of men miss, and show you exactly how to start practicing it today. Let's dive in. Society has been feeding men a myth since childhood: that love must be chased, that attention, affection, and validation are prizes you have to earn by working overtime. We grew up watching movies that glorify the man who sacrifices everything for the girl, the grand speeches, the desperate gestures, the endless persistence, until she finally gives in. It looks romantic on screen, but in real life it comes across as needy, not strong. And today, that myth is louder than ever. Social media is flooded with advice telling men to be louder, flashier, and more reactive. Influencers flex luxury cars they don't even own. Relationship gurus push manipulative strategies and surface-level tricks to hack attraction. But here's the truth. Most men never hear: the man who needs nothing attracts everything. Not because he's playing games, not because he's trying to manipulate, but because he's full, not needy. A Stoic man doesn't chase. He doesn't try to convince anyone of his value. He simply shows up, calm, grounded, unshakable. His worth isn't based on anyone's reaction. It's based on who he knows himself to be. This isn't arrogance. It's not coldness. It's emotional self-sufficiency. When you need someone's approval to feel okay, you give them control over your peace. And a Stoic man never gives that power away. Instead, he listens more than he speaks. He observes more than he reacts. He leads himself first, and by doing so, he naturally leads others. He's thoughtful. He's present. He's composed, even when emotions run high. That calm presence creates safety. That quiet confidence builds trust. And whether people realize it consciously or not, they're drawn to it, especially women. Why? Because while anyone can fake charm or charisma for a while, almost no one can fake genuine emotional control. Women are intuitive. They can sense when a man is grounded in himself and when he's just putting on a show. True presence can't be faked. It's earned through reflection, discipline, and a commitment to inner strength over outward flash. That's why so many men struggle in relationships. They try too hard to be everything instead of simply being themselves. They chase outcomes instead of living with purpose. They react to temporary feelings instead of standing firm in their long-term values. And it's exhausting for them and for everyone around them. The Stoic path is different. It doesn't mean you stop caring or close yourself off emotionally. It means you stop tying your identity to things you can't control, like how others see you or whether they give you validation. You start caring less about impressing and more about improving. You stop chasing attention and start cultivating presence. And that shift, it's powerful. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world taught you to perform. When you walk into a room, you won't need to raise your voice to be seen. Your presence will speak for you. When you speak, your words will carry weight, not because you're trying to sound impressive, but because they'll come from a place of real clarity and conviction. That's what separates the average man from the Stoic man. And in a world flooded with noise and distraction, women, and people in general, are drawn to the man who moves with peace, purpose, and quiet power. Now let's talk about what women are actually attracted to. It's not about being the loudest guy in the room. It's not about flashing material things. And it's definitely not about chasing someone until they finally give in. What truly draws women in is deeper. It's something you can't buy, fake, or rush. It's emotional discipline. Women are drawn to the man who stays calm under pressure, the man who can sit in silence without desperately needing to fill the space, the man who listens, really listens, without interrupting, without thinking about what to say next, and without letting his ego run the conversation. He responds. He doesn't react. He pauses before speaking. He thinks before acting. And that's not weakness. That's control. That kind of composure creates an undeniable sense of safety. Because when a man is emotionally steady, he becomes someone others can trust. He doesn't overshare to seek sympathy or to seem interesting. He understands that mystery, restraint, and emotional clarity are far more powerful than overexposure. He shares when it's meaningful, not when he's trying to impress or get validated. He doesn't argue to win. He doesn't fight to be right. He simply speaks his truth with quiet conviction. He stands in his confidence, and he lets it speak for itself. If someone doesn't respect it, he doesn't argue. He doesn't push harder. He simply steps back. And if respect is lost in a relationship, he walks away. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. That's real power, because this behavior sends a very clear message. I don't need you. I choose you, but I'll never chase you. And whether those words are spoken out loud or simply communicated through action, they change everything. Neediness kills attraction. When you're emotionally dependent on someone's attention, approval, or affection, it creates pressure, and pressure pushes people away, especially in relationships. But when you show up full, stable, and at peace with who you are, you become magnetic. Because in today's world, that's rare. Women aren't looking for perfection. They're not expecting you to have all the answers or never feel emotion. What they are drawn to are men who can hold their emotions rather than be controlled by them. When you're triggered and you don't lash out, when you're disrespected and you don't beg for closure, when life falls apart and you stay standing, that's when your true strength shows. A Stoic man doesn't chase validation because he already carries it within. He wakes up with purpose. He leads himself first before he leads anyone else. He's calm because he trusts himself. Silent when needed, assertive when required, but always true to his values. and women feel that. They feel when a man is grounded. They feel when he's emotionally stable enough to hold space. Not just when life is easy, but when it gets messy. That's the difference between a man who's trying to be liked and a man who's already accepted himself. If you want to know what women are truly drawn to, it's not about games, grand gestures, or gimmicks. It's about you. It's about how you carry yourself, how you think, how you respond when life throws you a curveball. It's about becoming a man who doesn't need to prove anything, because who he is already speaks for itself. Let's break something down that most men completely overlook: the silent power of Stoicism. In a world that rewards loudness, noise, and constant expression, stillness has become a superpower. You're taught to speak faster, post more, and always do something. But what if your greatest strength isn't in doing more? It's in mastering less. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about understanding them and then choosing your response with clarity and intention. A Stoic man isn't cold. He's clear. He's not detached. He's discerning. He knows life is unpredictable. Emotions rise, people disappoint, plans fall apart. But instead of reacting to every wave, he anchors himself and that unshakable calm. That's what people trust. That's what women feel safe around. Because a man who isn't thrown off by chaos becomes a shelter in the storm. Think about it. How many people do you know who can sit with discomfort without trying to numb it? Who can stay present in conflict without escalating it? That's the rare strength of the Stoic man. Worse, how many people can choose stillness when everyone else is spiraling? Very few. And that's why the Stoic stands out. He doesn't ghost people when things get hard. He communicates directly, clearly, respectfully. He doesn't punish others with silence. He uses silence to reflect, not react. And when he speaks, it matters. Because he's not talking just to fill space. He's speaking from a place of calm power. His presence is subtle, but unforgettable. In conversation, he's fully there. In conflict, he doesn't escalate. He listens. In decision-making, he's grounded, not rushed. People might not be able to explain it at first, but they feel it. This man moves differently. Here's the truth. Stoicism is attractive. Not because it's flashy, but because it's rare. Most people live in reaction. They're pulled by the highs and crushed by the lows. They post impulsively, speak emotionally, and let temporary feelings destroy long-term peace. But not the Stoic. The Stoic knows exactly what he can control and what he can't. He doesn't force outcomes. He doesn't chase or convince. He lets actions speak louder than arguments. He lets distance reveal what words cannot. That quiet discipline, it makes him deeply powerful. Women don't want a man who's constantly performing, proving, or chasing. That's exhausting for everyone. They want a man who can hold space, strong without being forceful, a leader with empathy and clarity, a man who remains composed, not because he's pretending to be tough, but because he's trained for it. He's practiced emotional discipline over time. He's built his mind. He's forged his character. He's chosen clarity over chaos. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. So when things don't go his way, the Stoic doesn't collapse. He adapts. He doesn't beg. He doesn't panic. He recalibrates and moves forward. That is real masculinity. It's not about domination. It's about direction. Because when you're no longer at war with yourself, you stop bringing chaos into your relationships. You become a man of peace, of presence, of purpose. And in a world full of noise, that kind of man is unforgettable. Now let's talk about a flex you'll never see on Instagram. The one you can't buy, wear, or fake. Inner stillness. In today's world, the loudest man often gets the most attention. But the calmest man, he earns the most respect. And respect lasts longer than attention. Real strength isn't about how much noise you can make. It's about how little you're moved by the noise around you. You walk into a room and you don't need to dominate it. Your energy speaks for you. Your confidence is quiet, not because you lack power, but because you've outgrown the need to prove it. That's the real flex. It's walking away from drama without a word. It's staying cool when someone tries to provoke you. It's letting someone else have the last word. Because you know the truth doesn't need defending. That kind of man, he's rare. And rare is magnetic. This is what Stoicism trains you for. Not to become someone else, but to return to who you were always meant to be. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being unshakable. You don't panic when she pulls back. You don't collapse when life gets uncertain. You don't chase after what's slipping away. You let it go, trusting that what's meant for you will stay. That's not weakness. That's wisdom earned through discipline. You become a man who doesn't need external validation to feel secure because you've built security within yourself. No amount of followers, flashy cars, cologne, or alpha routines can compete with that. Inner stillness is the most underrated power you can develop. And it's not built in a day. It's forged in the quiet, daily choices. Choosing discipline over distraction. Choosing patience when your ego wants to explode. Choosing space instead of control. Choosing to pause instead of post. And here's the thing. Women feel this on a soul level. Stillness is safety. Stillness is leadership. Stillness is rare. It's not about impressing her. It's about inspiring her, not with your words, but with your presence. You become the kind of man whose presence brings peace, not pressure, calm under fire, focused when others panic, consistent in a world full of chaos. And that consistency, that's what builds trust. That's what creates loyalty. That's what fuels real attraction. Because in the end, stillness doesn't mean standing still. It's movement without noise. It's clarity without explanation. It's knowing yourself so deeply that you don't need to convince anyone else. And here's the most important part. When you master inner stillness, you stop chasing relationships that drain you. You stop performing for people who don't value you. You stop reacting to every situation like it's an emergency. Instead, you move with purpose. You speak with direction. You love with presence, not pressure. That is the Stoic advantage. That is the real flex. So if you're wondering what to work on, don't start with how you look. Start with how you respond. Train your mind. Quiet your ego. Build stillness within. Because when you do, the world doesn't shake you. You shape the world. Now you might be thinking, this sounds powerful, but how do I start? The truth is, becoming a Stoic man isn't about flipping a switch. It's about small choices made every single day that shape your character. And the shift, it begins in your mind. Start by creating space between trigger and response. Someone disrespects you. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy or my silence? 9 times out of 10, silence wins. Next, build emotional awareness, not so you can share everything, but so you can understand everything. Your strength as a Stoic man comes from being deeply in tune with your emotions, without being ruled by them, Don't repress, reflect, don't react, respond. Then protect your focus like it's sacred, because it is. The world is full of distractions designed to steal your purpose. Every scroll, every notification, every headline, it's all trying to pull you away from yourself. Reclaim your presence. Start your day with intention. Read, journal, train, sit in stillness. Do something that reminds you, I choose how I show up today. And finally, detach from outcomes. You can't control how she feels. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control your effort, your discipline, your mindset. When something doesn't go your way, ask, what can I learn from this? Not, why is this happening to me? That's the shift. From victim to student, from reactor to responder, from boy to man. And you're not doing it for likes, not for followers, not for applause. You're doing it for clarity, for peace, for purpose. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men who are calm, focused, and unshakably true to who they are. You're doing it for freedom. Because the Stoic man is free. Free from needing validation. Free from people-pleasing. Free from emotional chaos. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't impress, he inspires. He doesn't prove, he becomes. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. One decision at a time. You're late to a meeting? Stay calm. Apologise with grace. You're tempted to argue online? Step back. Don't give your peace away for free. Someone pulls back emotionally. Let them. Don't beg. Don't chase. Remain centred. Because that kind of presence, it speaks louder than 1,000 words. And yes, it takes time. It takes discipline. It takes repetition. But the man who can stay grounded in a chaotic world wins. While everyone else is chasing attention, the Stoic is building value. While others seek validation, the Stoic builds purpose. While others crumble under pressure, the Stoic becomes the pressure. So start today. Start small. Wake up 30 minutes earlier and sit in silence. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do right now? Then do that. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because when you shift from noise to stillness, from reaction to reflection, you don't just survive chaos, you master it. And that's the beginning of your Stoic evolution. Let's be real, most men will never get this. They'll scroll past messages like this. They'll call it soft, too deep, or not alpha enough. Because facing yourself, that takes more courage than flexing for a crowd. Most men stay distracted, reactive, addicted to validation, chasing what doesn't matter, ignoring what does. They measure success by likes, manhood by muscle, love by how quickly they can get it, not how deeply they can hold it. They're loud when they win, loud when they lose, loud because silence feels like weakness. But here's the twist. Silence isn't weakness. It's power under control. Stillness isn't passivity. It's focused energy. Most men won't get this because no one taught them how to sit with themselves, only how to escape themselves through noise, through women, through validation. But you're still here, still listening, still locked in. And that means something. It means you're different. You're not just consuming content, you're changing through it. You're starting to realise it's not about having the most. It's about needing the least. It's not about being worshipped. It's about being respected. It's not about chasing love. It's about embodying it. You're not afraid to be calm. You're not afraid to be misunderstood. You're not afraid to walk alone. Because you understand the path to mastery is quiet, often lonely, but deeply rewarding. And that's why you'll win. Because while others chase trends, you build truth. While others fold under pressure, you rise through it. While others keep reaching outward, you keep reaching inward. And that's rare. And women, they feel it. They know it. They're drawn to a man who knows himself. A man who doesn't chase connection, but creates it through presence, patience, and purpose. That's you. Or at least, that's who you're becoming. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to be intentional. Most men stay trapped in cycles of validation, ego, fear, and control. But not you. You've already stepped outside the loop. You've already chosen growth over comfort, discipline over drama, presence over performance. This message isn't for the masses, it's for the few. The few who are tired of surface-level advice. The few ready to master their mind. The few who know being a man isn't about chasing power. It's about becoming power. It's not about looking different. It's about owning your presence. And if you've made it this far, take it as a sign. You're not just built different. You're building yourself different. And that's what separates the boys from the men, the reactive from the grounded, the common from the stoic. So here we are, at the end, or maybe the beginning. You've just walked through what most men avoid for a lifetime, not because they can't, but because they won't. Because it's easier to point fingers than to take ownership, easier to chase than to pause, easier to look tough than to build true strength. But you're not here for easy, you're here for real. And now, it's time to move from understanding to action. Here's your final Stoic challenge. It's not a 30-day program. It's not a checklist. It's not something you post for applause. It's internal, quiet, personal, and it starts with one question. Who are you when no one's watching? Not who you show the world, not who you are when praised, but who you are in silence, in stress, in solitude. Can you stay centered when emotions flare? Can you lead yourself before you ever try to lead anyone else? Can you stay patient when the world demands urgency? Because that is where Stoicism lives. Not in quotes, not in books, but in the space between impulse and intention. This week, I want you to choose the harder path, not to suffer, but to grow. Let her take hours to text back. Stay calm. Let the job delay the offer. Stay focused. Let life test you. Stay grounded. Your emotions will rise. Let them. But don't let them lead. Observe, breathe, respond. Then keep showing up. Every time you do, you're rewiring who you are. You're stepping into your power, not loud, not desperate, quiet, calm, unshakable. And that kind of man, he doesn't just win in relationships. He wins in everything because people trust him, women respect him, and life favors him. Not because life is fair, but because he's ready. So here's your Stoic challenge. Detach from validation. Attach to purpose. Detach from noise. Attach to stillness. Detach from ego. Attach to truth. Start small. One moment of restraint. One act of grace. One pause before a reaction, and watch your entire life start to shift. Because this isn't about being emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally masterful. That's what 99% of men will never understand. But you do now. And if this message sparks something in you, if you felt it in your gut, share it. Not for clicks, not for likes, but because real growth is contagious. Remember, You don't chase the world. You become the kind of man the world chases. You are stoic. And this is just the beginning. If this message resonated with you, don't let it end here. Subscribe, because this is just the start of your journey into deeper strength, emotional mastery, and calm leadership. Like this video if it spoke to something real inside you. That simple act helps us reach more men who are ready to level up. Comment below. Let us know what part hit you hardest. We read every single one, because this isn't just content, it's a community. And if you know someone, your brother, your friend, your younger self, someone who needs this, share it with them. Because quiet strength, it's contagious, and this world needs more of it. Here at Stoic HQ, we don't chase hype, we build men. One principle, one practice, one powerful message at a time. You made it this far for a reason. Now, take what you've learned and live it. Stay grounded, stay focused, and above all, stay stoic. We'll see you in the next one.